It's about that time again. This Saturday night on Fight Island, UFC 257, the one and only Conor Irish Nasty McGregor takes on none other than Dustin the Diamond in the Rough Poirier. Crystal Ball Series episode 2 is finally here, and as you can see, I need to calm my nipples as I'm very excited for this one. It's going down like the basement, and I'm here for the shits. I think many of us saw this rematch coming on the horizons. Of course, Irish Nasty McGregor getting the victory over Poirier all those years ago. But of course, this is a new year and a new day. First of all, I absolutely love Dustin Poirier. I think he's an amazing fighter and overall just a good dude. He's like a nice guy that will still blow your fucking head off if need be. And I like that very much so. And me personally, I never once in my entire life been a Conor McGregor fanboy. I actually, quite frankly, used to find him very irritating at one point. And I lost even more respect for him after he straight up assaulted the elderly. Which, by the way, shout out to that old man, wherever you are. That boy had a chin of gold, okay? He straight up ate McGregor's punch like he was Nate Diaz or some shit. And while we're here, please believe me, you would be hard-pressed to find anyone else on this earth who was more hyped than myself after Nate Diaz and Khabib both went out there and put the stranglehold on old boy McGregor. However, all of that was a little while ago now. And after some time and after certain actions and lack of actions at times by McGregor, I actually don't seem to mind him nearly as much as I once did. First of all, the man does come from humble beginnings, and he's very quick to help those less fortunate. He is a very charitable guy, even going out of his way to donate to his literal next opponent, Dustin Poirier's The Good Fight Foundation. And if you know me, you know I absolutely love shit like that. And I respect the fuck out of anyone who isn't afraid to be their true, actual self, regardless of what others may think. And even if you're not such a huge fan of the man like myself, you simply cannot deny that that is exactly what Irish Nasty McGregor embodies. Nothing sums it up better than the time right before taking Dennis Seaver's soul. You know, after the cage door finally locks behind them. Both fighters staring down the barrel at one another, just mere inches apart, as the referee says his last words before the bout. Some of those words being, if you want to touch gloves, do it now. And Conor goes to give Dennis Seaver the old fist pound, you feel me? Pause. Conor like, respect, bro. Come on, bro. Give me dap. That boy Dennis Seaver like, nah, bruh. We cool on that. Conor like, alright. Right there, buddy. And I loved it. Also, he does show respect when he feels like it, such as the lead up to this very fight. I just feel like I get it now. Maybe all the dislike I had for the man was just all a misunderstanding after all. Everyone keeps talking about how refocused he is and all this nonsense. But I, for one, don't believe he's lost focus at all. As much as people may feel like he's all about that bag, he definitely is about more than just that. Although he does love him some Fetty, of course, he is all about legacy as well. And he has proven it on multiple occasions. So I don't buy into him being complacent at all, really, to be honest. Especially after that last humbling defeat. But with all that being said, let's finally break this shit down. Last time these two met, which seems like a lifetime ago at this point. Unfortunately, as we all know, the fight didn't really last very long. However, there was a lot that took place in that short amount of time. And a couple of very interesting things we can take away from it. First of all, even way before these men stepped into the cage, the war had already begun. mental warfare, that is. Conor was steady flapping those gums as he normally does, and by the time they even faced off at the weigh-ins, McGregor was just straight up running a suite in Poirier's brain. And Poirier even admitted this himself. You could literally see the red forming in Poirier's eyes as he stared McGregor down. And all of this definitely seemed to affect the diamond, at least from his perspective. But as we said, that was a hot minute ago. Both men have grown and matured in more ways than one since then. And you can obviously see that same energy from the first fight is definitely not there. And of course I do believe that will serve Poirier well, at least mentally, this time around. Also, let's not forget that fight 6 years ago was at featherweight now. Poirier's last featherweight bout, by the way. And of course this one's at lightweight. And Dustin has definitely grown into his dad bod since then. So I also feel like that is a plus for Poirier. However, I believe, conceptually at least, 155 is probably the class best suited for Conor. No matter what weight he's fighting at, one thing's for sure though, and that's that the boy has an absolute detonator in his left hand at all times. And unless your name is Nate Thug Life Diaz, then you probably won't be taking many of those left hand lasers. And even with the heart and chin that Dustin has shown throughout his entire career, I mean, the man is called the Diamond for a reason now. Unfortunately, I just don't see him being able to handle McGregor's power if he lands. And of course he's gonna land. I mean, come on, just think about it. Even with Poirier's last fight against my boy Dan the Hangman Hooker, Poirier just got hit clean way too much. And I love my boy Hooker to death, and though he is known for his knockouts, he doesn't really have the same certified one-hitter quitter like McGregor. And I believe if it was Conor landing those same shots Hooker was, I just wouldn't see that looking too good for my boy Dustin. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want to make it seem like Dustin doesn't have a chance at all. I mean, that would just be silly. Believe me, I am fully aware what this man is capable of. He's had some absolutely amazing performances, got some extremely notable wins in impressive fashion. Powerful striker, tremendous cardio, heart of a lion. However, although he is a very powerful striker, he normally does get his finishes by accumulation. His volume and the combination he throws is what usually gets him the finish. His boxing is phenomenal. His hands are definitely his greatest weapon. Although, as we saw in the Khabib fight especially, the boy is well-rounded now. He does have some powerful kicks when he decides to throw them as well. Specifically, leg kicks, which he utilized well in his first fight with McGregor. And that is what some believe one of his keys to victory may be, especially with Conor's wide stance. And while those people may be correct, and Poirier maybe can find an opening and get something going from there, it also could quite possibly be a huge detriment to him as well. And even quite possibly be the exact reason for him to take the L. Hear me out. Especially with both men being southpaws, when Poirier goes to throw a leg kick, especially with his rear leg, the more powerful of the leg kicks, by the way, it literally squares him up perfectly for McGregor's best weapon, that lethal left straight. And McGregor even looked to do that exact thing in the first fight. Poirier throws his first leg kick very early in the fight, and off the very first one, McGregor threw that left out there immediately, looking to counter. So if that is something Poirier's looking to build a game plan around, he must tread carefully. Also, another thing to consider is, as we said before, with Poirier being such a volume puncher, throwing more combos at dudes than Ryu off Street Fighter, I believe that also could potentially be a detriment to Poirier in this one. McGregor has one of the absolute best pull counters in the game, which he often uses to land that left hand of his basically at will. And overall is just a fantastic counterpuncher. And especially with the way Poirier throws his combos. Unfortunately, I just see him getting countered, clipped, and eventually finished. Mystic Mac McGregor predicted he would indeed outdo himself in this one and end Poirier's hopes and dreams within the first 60 seconds after the bell. A whole 30 seconds less than last time. And honestly, that idea is really not that far-fetched. I mean, we've seen this man do it time and time again, even putting very durable opponents completely away. We've seen what he did to Aldo, to Alvarez, batshit crazy Cowboy Cerrone included. And even the first match against Poirier, all rapid finishes. Flawless victories, if you will. So him finishing this fight in 1 minute or less is really not that hard for me to believe. But, however, even with all that being said, I got way more respect for my boy Poirier than that. I will be giving him the benefit of the doubt, and I believe he will make it past the 60-second mark. However, for whatever reason, though I love Poirier, I still do see him being finished inside of the first round. I see him overextending himself on one of those vicious combos and eventually getting caught with that lethal left of Irish Nasty. And just like that, the entire world hops right back on Conor's dick. And I guess time will only tell if this performance is impressive enough for the Eagle himself to step out of retirement and spread those wings once more. We will be here immediately after the fight to recap, so be on the lookout for that. But until then, please consider throwing a lethal straight hand at that subscribe button. Leave a like down below if you fucks with the flow. And with that being said, stay up, and I will see y'all at the fights.